Is it time to return to the gold standard? Welcome to Mark and Pete, two blokes with half an opinion. Now, here's a thought.
Good as gold. Gold is a metal that is extremely rare. It is used in jewellery for its shiny glare, and sometimes is applied for dental care. But if too much is swallowed, you'll become a walking millionaire. I would suggest that's probably not a good thing. Having said that, there is a lot of gold in the world. What's interesting is that the gold price has hit a $3,000 per ounce mark for the first time, and that is as a result of the demand for this precious metal surging because of the economic uncertainty all around the world. Now, as we know, global trade war is increasing. We've seen the introduction of tariffs, which, as you know, are taxes charged on businesses importing goods from overseas. Now, this has fueled fears of price inflations, and so that's why many investors are turning to gold. Mr. Pete, I ask you, it does give you a sense of where we might need to go. Do you think we should be returning to the gold standard?
The gold standard, Mr. Marker, is a really good way of introducing stability, of stopping inflation running out of control due to differences, due to uncertainty rather, and differences in value of different currencies in international trade. In that, if they change too much, the uncertainty then ruins any agreements you might have, and if the value of the currency changes, that is really the definition of inflation. You have it such that each unit of currency gets less and less, so there's more and more of it, and they're worth less. And if that gets out of control, you get a worldwide recession, and that's not good. Where a gold, return to a gold standard would help that. So I think this is something we've discussed before offline. In that, my opinion is the gold standard, something that keeps the value of currencies constant and consistent, and gold really is the best of that because historically it's been used for that, and it's limited in amount, which is what you need for something that guarantees the value of money. And it's better to have something of intrinsic value as well, I think. So yeah, I think the gold standard is something to aim towards. But imagine if you did that suddenly, that would cause even more people. So it's something to aim towards, but I don't think it's going to, because you can't do it that quickly. It's not going to solve our current woes. But if we had it in place, we wouldn't have what's known as the boom and bust cycles that we have in the world economy. We've had for decades.
Well, indeed. And when you think of it from a business perspective, oh my goodness, do we want certainty? Yes,
Mm,
we do. Anybody who is
yes,
a business
yeah.
person has been screaming at this for some time. I would suggest that, when you're thinking about consuming gold leaf or others, maybe you should just put it under the pillow. That might be better. But here's the thing. The gold standard is a monetary system in which the standard of economic unit of account is based on a fixed quantity of gold. Now, of course,
Yeah.
looking through history, the gold standard was the basis for the international monetary system. And this went from the 1870s to the early 1920s, and from the 1920s to about 1932, as well as from 1944 until in 1971, when the United States unilaterally terminated convertibility of the US dollar to the gold. Effectively, that ended a Bretton Woods system. And in fact, as we know, that the pound sterling left the gold standard in 1931, and a number of currencies around the
Yeah.
countries that historically had performed a large amount of their trade in sterling were pegged to the sterling instead of to gold. But here's the thing, as Mr. Peters highlighted, we've seen turbulence ever since. Now, we've got the benefit of hindsight here, folks, because as we've sort of alluded to, we've seen boom and bust far too many times. Look at what's happened in the 1970s. Look what happened in the 80s. You can even point to the 90s and even the turn of the 21st century. Boom and bust, if there are issues in the markets, whether they be tariffs, whether there be global wars, whether there be anything else. The fact of the matter is, it's very difficult if you are a business person to find something that you peg to a standard. So I think this is where we're saying that maybe in times of uncertainty, and let's be honest, we certainly are, with global geopolitical issues, with supply chain issues, with many other issues that seem to be happening. I'm in favour of pegging back to the gold standard. Now, I do know that some people were screaming and saying, hold on, this may not necessarily be as much favoured by a lot of politicians. Because as we know, if we go back in time, by fixing the price at a level which stood the pre-war, that's the one when we talk about the First World War, the Second World War, etc. The dollar was fixed at a certain point, but at the time, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, a certain Mr. Winston Churchill, is argued to have made an error that led to depression, unemployment, and the 1926 general strike. And this was seen by many as a historical mistake. But was it? I mean, the fact of the matter is you're always going to get turbulence. So, Mr. Pete, I ask you, do you think that maybe now is that time? Times have changed since Winston Churchill. Should we now be thinking differently?
Yeah. Well, I think I think that we should. Here's my reasoning. I think if you have currencies pegged, as you were putting it, to a certain commodity. In this case, well, it then doesn't become a commodity. It's then money. The gold stops being a commodity. The gold that you've stored, anyway, and it is the money. On notes printed in Britain, we have the I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of and a certain amount of money, meaning gold, a certain amount of gold, but not gold according to whatever the price is now. There's a set amount of gold per pound or per whatever unit is currency, so it keeps it reliable. And then that means if you can't suddenly save your even a sector of your industry in a country by changing the value of your currency, then poor businesses go under. But
Yeah,
actually, that's a good thing, isn't it? You don't want companies that are bad succeeding.
I agree.
You're putting your thumbs on. The governments put their thumbs on the scale so many times.
Yeah,
Now, the only way they're going to do that then is by using tariffs. But the thing about tariffs, that's the only way you can control whether people are going to come into your country and sell there and take over from the industry that you have locally. You put tariffs on them. That's what Trump's doing. But then what you have is you have money going into the economy from it.
yes.
So it isn't the same thing as having the value of the currency changed. So I think it is a good thing overall. When we from the 70s onwards, when we had the petrodollar, what you were having is the United States saying you can only pay for petrol in dollars. Not everyone signed up to it, but enough countries did, and Saudi Arabia and America basically stitched up the entire world, and America became very wealthy over it. The agreement was that they would use that to defend Saudi, so America became also a great military nation. And look what that's got the state that's got the world in. It's better if you have an agreed on gold standard, because that means that just my final point is this: that wealth is real wealth. This country is very wealthy. That must mean it's got a lot of gold. It actually has something real there to show for the money. So you can't suddenly, we're going to call in all the debt and ruin the country.
Yeah,
No, it's got the gold to pay it off.
yeah.
So the country is safe because it's got the gold stored. It's just seems the way to head for to me. I don't know how we do it. You're more the business expert than me in this podcast, but I do think it's the way to head, the way forward. If we could do that, we'd end up with a stable economy worldwide. Just think what that would do for prosperity of the entire world.
Well, I actually think that there's two ways to look at this, and I'm going to look at some of the very wealthy people in the world actually see a lot of benefit from an unstable market, because if you're
Yeah.
controlling of systems, processes, if you dominate a market, you can actually make a lot of money in multiple ways. It plays to effect. But for the vast majority of small to medium-sized companies, they need stability. And that's the way you build. You need to be able to have good cash flow. You need to have solidity of a market, meaning you have a guaranteed market to a point. There's always going to be markets that will waver and you lose customers, etc. But what you're looking for is more predictability, and that's the thing that we've been missing for such a long time. I wanted to shift the conversation slightly to a different direction. This is still about gold, but of course, as you know, it's an indestructible product. It's something that pretty much is mined throughout the world in specific areas, but you can pretty much in any form reclaim it. So that's one good thing in itself. So however way you melt it down and reform it. So my question to you is, how much gold have we mined? And that would really sort of come to another point, which is if you were to take all of the discovered gold in the world, how much would that account to in terms of tonnage?
Oh, tonnage, right.
Yes. So
Now I know
I
that
can tell you, I'm
I
going
know
to
that
give you a guide here that if all the
yes,
world's mined gold were placed next to each other, the resulting
right,
cube would only measure
right,
22 meters on either side.
right. So it's a 22-meter cube,
Yes.
size of a house,
It's
basically.
about of the size of either 3 or a 4 bedroom house.
Oh, right, quite a big house, but it's still a house.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Are you asking me how
I'm
much would that
asking
weigh?
you. So,
Now,
how much is total above ground gold stocks and how much total identified
right. Oh,
underground
oh,
reserves?
yes. Now I happen to know the gold, much like yourself, Mark, is extremely dense. So,
Yes,
if so, with it
but
being
very
very
shiny
dense,
and valuable.
yes, indeed. Um, so I imagine there's quite a lot. So what
That's true.
you're saying how much the amount that you said that would fit into a house
In terms of
is all of
tons.
it together,
Yeah.
but oh, it's all of it that's been mined all together
Well, the
ever.
total above ground, that's the gold stocks, and then there's total identified underground reserves. So let's
Oh,
start
I
with
see.
above
So that's it.
ground. In tonnage, how much is that?
Right. Well, well, as I say, gold very dense.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm going to say that you're going to have. I'm very bad at this. I'm going to say a million tons.
No, if there was, I think the unit price would be
Oh,
no. It's two hundred and one
I'll
thousand two
probably
hundred
calculate it.
ninety six tons.
Hey, come on! That was
Now,
only
the total
five times
I
out.
can tell you the total
Yes.
identified underground reserves is 53 tons.
Yes.
But the point is that, isn't it, when you actually sort of get a
What?
sense of what
53
it might look like
tons?
if you put it all
Did you
together,
say? Did you say 53 tons? Or did you mean
53,000 tons.
53,000 tons? Oh,
Yes,
53,000 tons.
yes.
Yeah.
And that when you put it all
So,
together into one house, that would be a nice shiny Midas house.
that's not. Hang on, that's not that much more, is it?
Well, not
That's
that
not
much
being
more, no.
found.
But the irony is, in terms of
You'd have to add an extra floor to the house.
where the gold is used, it's primarily used, the vast majority, 46% is used for jewelry. 22% is used for private investment.
Yes.
17% is for official holdings, and the other is the various other applications is
Well,
15%. But the
yeah. Well,
point
gold
being
is
is
used
that that's
in
where
circuitry.
jewelry is one of the the biggest areas.
Yeah, gold is used in circuitry. Of course,
Yes.
it's used
Yeah, yeah.
in some
Yeah, yeah.
windscreens of airplanes, that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
it's yeah, as you say, it's used in some food, isn't it?
Oh yes, totally, yes. I've eaten
But
most
yes,
of
it's
it.
used
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of it's used in jewelry.
Yeah.
Of course, historically, people had lots of gold jewelry, or they carried gold as jewelry in order to carry it.
Yeah.
That was their savings, and that was the reasoning behind having gold tooth as well.
Correct.
Uh, yeah.
Yes.
So and also, I guess golden earrings if you're a pirate or
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know that
Absolutely.
class of character. So there we are. Yes, gold has value, doesn't it? Even without it being having being money rather, it has its own intrinsic value, as I was talking about earlier. So it just, I mean, you could have another commodity. You could have silver. Going
Platinum.
back in the day, we used to have could be platinum. You used to have salt, didn't you, back
Oh
in
yes.
the Roman time of the Roman
Yeah.
Empire? So you can have other things,
Yeah.
but it does work better if they have intrinsic value. Now, if you have things like cryptocurrency, there's no intrinsic
Well, there's
value
another
to
one
it.
which I'm going to say, which is extremely important as a lithium. Very much
Well,
important,
lithium,
used for
it could
batteries and
be,
many other
it
things.
could be
It's
lithium,
a good
but
commodity.
if you're going to have a standard, you need to pick something,
Yes.
and yeah, gold is I
Yeah.
think the best one. It will, it will change the whole way we think if we do it.
Yes.
But I guess we need to, as usual, Mark,
I
put this to our listeners. What do
I
they
think
think?
there's another standard that we should mention, and that is the gold
Yes,
standard of podcasts, which of course is Mark and Pete.
yes, yes. And the gold standard of podcast listeners. Yes, always good to butter up your listeners. So yeah, butter up your listeners. That conjures up all sorts of
That's a
images. But
different show.
look, if you want, yes, please get in touch with us. Not on that subject, but on the subject of gold. Let us know what you think. It is a controversial take to say we should return internationally to the gold standard, but let us know what you think. Get in contact with the show. You go to markandpete.com. Make sure you're subscribed, and there you can comment on this. And in fact, on every episode. I hope that you do. But for Mark and myself, it's time to say farewell for this week. Catch you next time.